Welcome back, guys, to another amazing week of Soulfire. I'm so excited to bring to you this week's lesson of credit card faith. But I have a question for you guys. What is credit card faith? It's a religion of instant gratification. So what that means is we get the good things now and we pay for them somewhere down in the distant future. So God has planned great things for us, but we don't always get it right away. Sometimes we aren't ready. Sometimes we aren't mature enough to receive it just yet. And sometimes if we get what we wanted now, it'll spoil what God may have for us in the future. Whatever the reasons for waiting, God gives us an opportunity to walk and learn with Him and grow. God gave Abraham a huge promise that he would be a father of a great nation. God also told Abraham that he would finally have a son that he so longed for. And through the son, the descendants of Abraham would be as countless as there are as many stars in the sky. Time had gone by, and Abraham and Sarah, who was his wife, started to lose patience. Things weren't happening as quickly as they wanted, and they were both getting old. We're going to go into scripture here real quick. It says, now Sarai, Abram's wife, bare him no children, and she had a handmaiden, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said unto Abram, behold, now the Lord has restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go in unto my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarah. So by Sarah giving her maidservant to Abraham, it just made a situation even worse, because God had already promised Abraham a son, but Abraham and Sarah they got impatient, and they decided to take matters into their own hands and try and speed up the process. And in that turn, it kind of started something that would end up being bad between Hagar and Sarah, or Sarai. And so let's go back into verse 4 here. And he went in unto Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. And Sarah said unto Abram, my wrong be upon thee. I have given my maid unto thy bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. The Lord judged between me and thee. So there, Sarah began to blame Abraham, and it was for a good reason. Because Abraham should have been the spiritual leader of the household and said, no, we need to wait on God. God has a plan, and we need to follow through with it. But instead, he went along with Sarah and ended up, conceiving a child. And in Hagar's point of view, she thought that by her being able to have a kid and being able to conceive made her better than Sarah. So in turn, it brought tension between the two, and hatred and spitefulness and everything that comes between it. And so continuing here in verse 6. But Abraham said unto Sarai, behold, thy maid is in thy hand. Do to her as it pleaseth thee. And when Sarai dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face. So, and the angel, I'm going to continue here. And the angel of the Lord found her by a fountain of water in the wilderness, by the fountain in the way of Shur. And he said, Hagar, Sarai's maid, whence comest thou? And whither wilt thou go? And she said, I flee from the face of my mistress Sarai. And the angel to the Lord said unto her, Return to thy mistress, and submit thyself under her hands. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly, that it shall not be numbered for multitude. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Behold, thou art with child, and shalt bear a son, and shalt call his name Ishmael, because the Lord hath heard thy afflictions. And he will be a wild man. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him. And he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. And she called the name of the Lord, and spoke unto her, Thou, God, seest me. For she said, Have I also here looked after him that seeth me? So, at this point, God steps in. He notices that Sarah had she had been spiteful against Hagar, and which in turn Hagar decided to run away, as it says. So this is where God steps in and sends an angel to convince her to return. God blessed the child because he was the son of Abraham, even though he wasn't the chosen, the miracle child that God had promised. Most of us can probably relate to this story in a way of being impatient. We don't like waiting for the good things to happen. We begin to try and help things move along faster. By not waiting, we could get ourselves into trouble even more than before. Like maybe there's something that you want to buy, or something that you really, really like, but you don't want to wait to be able to pay for it. So maybe you do a little five finger discount. Or maybe you're in a relationship with a person and you're just getting really impatient waiting for the other person to fall in love with you. So you decide to make the relationship intimate, and then in turn it ends up turning totally backfires on you when everything ends, and you end up hurt and alone, and everything comes to an end. But it doesn't have to be this way. God has a perfect plan for your life. It is a plan to give you good things at the best time. If we will walk with God and grow with Him, He will see the fullness of what we can accomplish for us and through us. If we take matters into our own hands and help them along, we just end up with a mess to clean up. So my point is today is wait on God. Don't take matters into your own hands, because every time we put the matters into our own hands, it always, like it says, it always ends up not working out our way, or if it does work out our way, it'll affect a blessing God may have for us down the road. So I love you guys. I hope you got something out of it today. Stay tuned for next week, and hopefully we can reconvene and get back to it. Love you guys. Have a great week.